Yeah, you know, like
Not Wiseman's.
You have to specify now, you know, like.
Oh, right, okay. The OG.
Yeah. Yeah, just had that. Yeah, black coffee. Yeah.
Nice.
Just we're testing levels, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is actually the
One, two,
podcast.
yeah.
We just
Go on,
talk about
starting off real dynamic.
just talk about breakfast we've had, breakfast we're gonna have.
James Acaster comes in a second.
DB.
Me?
Yeah.
Toast with peanut butter and banana, the Elvis.
Ooh, nice.
And then oat milk latte. £20 milk frother from Asda. Best buy ever.
Yeah.
So good.
Pizza.
No, that got demolished. That wasn't. I expected that to be a bit of a challenge last night, but it actually wasn't. I was back to minced rice and veg.
Classic.
Yep. We're
We're
rolling.
rolling.
Audio.
We're live on audio, live in the.
Oh,
cameras.
golly. Have we got a good episode for you today? Welcome to Portrait, a podcast. We're joined by the award-winning
Yeah.
Chris Thorburn. Hello.
Hello. Hey. Thank. Oh my God.
Quite right.
All these people are here.
I was expecting you to say something. I was just looking. at you.
I thought you were reading off an intro there because there's quite a few lines of text.
No, that was off the cuff.
All right, okay.
Baby.
Pleasure to have you, Chris.
Yeah,
I'm
lovely to be
I'm
here.
sorry that I missed the photo taking in the weekend.
Oh, you're all good. Yeah. We had fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that at the end. But yeah, you chose the Barras
Yeah.
for your photos, and I loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
He was in a full suit, made the effort, so no pressure on the next guest. Offered us a coffee when we got there, didn't take him up on it, but he was a gentleman and kicked about the Barras. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Thank you for coming out. Like, I'd like to say that there was an artistic reason for choosing the Barras. It's because it's 5 minutes walk from my flat. That's all.
Well, having seen some of the photos, it was a good choice.
Yeah.
Venue.
Very good choice. Yeah, lots to play with.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get back to that later. So you used to stay in Ayr.
I did, yeah.
Right.
I studied here at uni, and then just went up staying for a few years after that. I worked at the cinema, rest in peace, that we just lost like last month.
Yeah.
June 4th or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad to see that. Like, I still keep in touch with a lot of folk who worked at the cinema, and we were really trying to like organize a pilgrimage to go see one last film there, and we couldn't make the timing work.
No.
Yeah, which is sad about, because me and some of the folk that we used to work in the cinema together, over lockdown started an online D&D group, and
Right.
that just became an ongoing group chat. And yeah, but yeah, so I lived in Ayr for about 7 years, but yeah, really liked it.
I'm writing down D&D because I know that's quite improvisational.
Yeah, I'd never played it before until lockdown, and yeah, it was like, it took us no time at all. We were like, as soon as like everything locked down, we were like, we should start D&D group, like, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, looking back to like lockdown, you think everything took a lot long, like it. Turns out I was just waiting for an excuse to shave my head. Like,
Oh, did you go for it?
like, I shaved in the sides, but like in my mind, in my recollection, I was like, oh yeah, like after a few weeks, it was 4 days. Like, every man is just waiting for the excuse to just like, oh, I got no choice.
I was close to it, and I went the opposite route, and I just didn't trim the beard or the hair
Yeah.
for the better part. I don't know. It was well into August.
I think lockdown was like what everyone was like. The cast of The Walking Dead season 1 was pre-lockdown, and then like season 5 or 6 is like mid to or like later than lockdown. You've got like long hair, everyone looks minging. You've got like some strange whatever like facial hair choices going on. You're all dirty, stinking.
Why are you keeping on looking at me as you used like odd facial hair, dirty instinct?
I can't, no, I'm not saying you odd facial hair. That'd be a cheek.
So yeah, how long did the baldy go for?
Oh, well, I kind of went the similar route with you, like the second, because you know how there were like sort of like two lockdowns.
Yeah.
There was like lockdown OG and then and then the
2.0.
the electric boogaloo, you know, like and like in the first one, like constantly topping up the sides. While this is still getting like longer and longer.
Oh right, so you kept right. Okay,
Yeah, it looked like a fucking pineapple. Like is what, and then with the next one, it was like, okay, not gonna bother with any of that, and you've just got this big fucking bird's nest that's just like growing and growing. Like, but yeah. But you went with beard as well.
Yeah, it got to we were at Glen Nevis that week, and there was one day we were up in the hills and it was pissing down with rain, and trying to get a zip up underneath it.
Yeah.
Like at that point, I thought, this has got to go.
Yeah.
But the problem is you've invested so much time in this thing. It's like you can't let it go. And looking back at photos, I'm like, I don't regret it at the time.
It was cool, man.
Yeah. In your head, you're like, this is a project.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like this is something
lot of
I'm
time
gonna
and
see
energy.
through. Yeah.
But it was just a good opportunity for people to indulge a whim that they wouldn't otherwise have been able to indulge.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did that. But I won't do it again.
So, in your D&D group, were there any other comedians, or was it just you?
No, it was just myself. Myself, like my old flatmate, a couple of folk worked in the cinema with, and then just like our kind of like group of pals. We kept that going. Like throughout the lockdown, and then like a little while afterwards, and then I feel bad. I was always the common denominator. Then as soon as gigs came back, then it was just like, just sorry, can't make this Wednesday. Like, what about this day? And then just, I just completely derailed it. So I feel guilty about that. But like, we've still got the group chat going.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did you, like, how was it as like a comedian, or what? Were you like silly in it? Did it annoy people, or were you just like playing the game?
Oh, everybody was silly in it. It was,
Right,
it was
okay.
very nice. Yeah, like I think that's the thing. Like from an outside perspective, like you think of D&D as going to be this very. I mean,
Like South Park's episode and stuff.
yeah. Like I mean, the dungeon master, like the person who like organizes the game, has a lot of admin to do.
I thought you were going to be like, the dungeon master is a fucking dork.
But like it's kind of like everybody else is having fun because like we just get to rock up and like improvise.
Yeah.
Like the dungeon master's got like it is pure admin. Like it's medieval themed admin and but people sort of like enjoy that kind of role, like because I guess they're kind of like setting up a world. They are putting the story in motion and then watching it play out. But it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, like
Did you have a name?
I was a barbarian called Balthazar.
Balthazar the Barbarian. Nice.
Yeah. It was kind of an in joke because as I say, like my old flatmate who I lived in Ayr was also in the group, and Balthazar was the name of our old bong. It's also just a good name. It's a good mythological name.
And how did the bong come to have that name?
I forget. I don't.
They were high.
That's exactly. Yeah, it made sense at the time. It's something to do with the never-ending story or something. I don't know. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a belter of a film. I've not seen that in years. And speaking of never-ending story and films and everything, so your upcoming I keep saying special, your upcoming show that won. Was it like best show at the Fringe or something? What was it? Iceland Fringe.
It won funniest show.
Funniest show.
Yeah, like so like they had like a few like sort of awards because it was like the Reykjavik Fringe, which is much like the Edinburgh Fringe, just like lots of different like theatre and comedy and stuff like that, but it's all sort of condensed into like a week as opposed to like a full month. But yeah, like so a bunch of us went over like doing our shows over there because one of our friends, Richard, like he'd been the previous year to do it, had an amazing time. So like Richie Brown.
Yeah.
And so like we yeah, it was all nice. It was very nice. Like, we traveled down together, like all staying together, and
Cool.
yeah, it was. I'd never been to Iceland before, and like it was a really nice time there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Just going away for a week, doing like your job and obviously getting paid whatever, and then winning funniest show. Like,
It was nice. Yeah, I would like. I mean, Iceland's mad because like I mean, this time of year it doesn't get dark, and
Right.
that fucks with your head. That and like it is mad expensive over there. Like you're looking at like, the equivalent of £10 for a pint.
Okay.
But everybody who lives there, the wages are higher, so
Yeah.
it works out for them. But if you're traveling over, yeah, it's
Sucks.
yeah.
How did your comedy translate across to a different country? Was there anything noticeable in that?
Not really. I mean, everybody everybody spoke very natural English. It was different to like last year. Me and Billy Kirkwood, we went over and did the Utrecht festival in Holland, and with that one, that was like we were booked for 5 gigs over about 3 days, and that was good. It was a kind of like learning curve because like the first one went well, but like after every set, we got to go off and kind of analyze like, okay, like let's analyze, how did that go? Like, what if we like slow down, enunciate a bit more, act out a bit more, swap out that reference. They don't call that links over here; they call it Axe body spray or something like that, you know. And like by the time like we got to like our last gigs, we were having a great time. Like, but yeah, it was like
Bit of adaptation period.
absolutely like sort of adjusting to that. Reykjavik, like, just everybody speaks very good English, and it seems to be a very similar sort of sense of humor. Anyway, like that, like really just kind of the audiences really took to like the sort of British acts who like traveled over. That there was no real need for like sort of changing much at all. Yeah, it was nice.
and how when you say like after the show, you and Billy analysed it and the Utrecht one, like how often do you? Is that like after every single show you'll sit and make notes of like, okay, this worked, this didn't work, or is that just like when you're adapting to a new place?
No, I think it's always good to kind of, whether or not it's just yourself, like internally, like you know, like I need to get better at recording my sets, but like you
Right.
know, like you know, you hate listening back to your own voice, or like you know, or like, but it's always good to, you know, just especially if you're working up for a show, like say like you know, you've got August coming up, you know, you're doing the Edinburgh Festival, like you know, you want to have the show ready for that point, so you've got like preview nights, you've got, you know, things like that, and it's good to, you know, kind of see like, okay, like once you've like taken all that material and you've sort of stitched together in the show, and then you run out the show a few times, you see, is there a dip in energy, or like does one bit like, and it's always good as well to like, you know, say like bounce that back with like say another act, like say like, you know, get your friends to like come watch the show, and then you can talk to them and, you know, say like, okay, like do you think this didn't work, or like, and also like, you know, folk are able to feed each other jokes, you know, like just
Right.
like if somebody comes up with a line and it's like, well, they're not going to ever use it because it's a tag to this person's bit, and then like you can like sort of help each other out that way.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, but with the stuff like say in Utrecht, yeah, it was very much like a sort of, because it was so. I mean, we were doing like several gigs a night. It was nice to be able to just like come off, regroup, discuss it, and then take those tactics or whatever, or notes, and then immediately implement them. Go back
Yeah.
to the next set and say, okay, that's working better. That's like, and yeah, just seeing it develop in real time. You know.
Kind of like a game in that way.
Yeah.
Not happy with that one. Go back.
Yeah, yeah, like you know, like playing the same level again.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you gonna ask something?
No, sorry for you.
So, when you're preparing for a show, so your show is called like Cineman. Do you want to talk about that first, and then I'll...
Oh, sure. Yeah. So it's a show. It's just a stand-up show all about films. Like I like when I enjoyed kind of doing stuff about pop culture. Like I do comedy about other stuff, but like when you're doing the Fringe, it's always good to, unless you're like a really well-known name, it's always good to kind of have a pitch, like have a kind of like sell of like, here's what the show is about. This is like the theme of the show or whatever. And like, it's just a nice, easy sell of just like, it's jokes about films. That's all you need to know. Just jokes about films. And I've been able to like just take bits I've been doing like kind of in my live set over the past like few years or so, just all the sort of filmy bits, just kind of accumulate them together. And, you know, it's got a built-in audience. You know, you can flyer outside Forbidden Planet, look for a guy in a certain kind of t-shirt, and you know, you're like, you'll like this show, you know, like so yeah, it's just all just comedy about films, like by a nerd for nerds, pretty much.
Okay. What kind of t-shirts are we talking?
Oh, you know, like those Last Exit to Nowhere ones, you know, like where you got the brands that you see in the films, or like, yeah, just anybody in like a fucking Back to the Future shirt, or you know, like something like that, or yeah.
So you heard it. If Chris hands you a flyer, it's because he thinks you look like a nerd.
Looks like a nerd.
We're all nerds. We're all nerds.
Folk will be avoiding you. I'm wearing this ironically.
Yeah, no one's taking a flyer. Like, you look like a fucking nerd.
I didn't mean to alienate you. And I don't know if you want to talk us through the process of getting your poster. So if for anyone that's not seen it, the photographer's Instagram handle, Curse These Eyes, made an absolutely brilliant poster, especially for the special Cineman films, and your beard's covered in popcorn. And I know we spoke a little bit about it, which might be quite funny to share, but
Yeah. So AJ, who like did the photography for it, like we've done a bunch of shoots together. He's a lovely guy, and yeah, like we've done a bunch of shoots together. But like that one, he really fucking pulled through, like, because kind of had the idea, had a beard at the time, and yeah, like just I was like, we went in just like, I hope this works, and we had it was like sort of makeup glue, like sort of like prosthetic glue, and like bag of popcorn, and like just painstakingly like glued the popcorn to the beard, and it all stuck, it all worked. We got the photos. The photos turned out great. It turns out what you're not supposed to do with a beard is load it with glue. So the popcorn came out, the glue didn't, and I had to walk home from the shoot, and with a beard that it just looked like it was matted with cum.
I was going to say, that's the first thing that came to mind there. Yeah.
You know, like you've got the hood up and you're like walking on, but like still like folk are like catching glimpses of you, and it's just like, don't look at me.
That's not what it looked. How do you explain that?
It was like the quickest walk home.
There was a gang of them.
Yeah. Folk are looking like a big night last night, just like
Normal night.
Yeah.
And did you get it out, or did you have to shave it?
The like had to shave it.
Had to.
Yeah. Like, so I had to lose some of the beard, and then like, but, like, just,
Got it for you.
yeah, it worked out fine. But yeah, just I was trying, like, had like nail polish remover in there, trying to like comb it out and something. No, it wasn't for budging.
No.
Like,
How did you? Obviously, film was a big interest for you.
Mhm.
How long's that been? How'd you get in? What's the love of film? Where does that come from?
I mean, just kind of always really loved films, like since I was little. You know, get very in the way that, like, you know, so like kids get like very hyper fixated on like one thing for like a long time, and I would always do that with like certain films, and then, you know, like not even good films, like you know, the age of 6, I think every single day that year I watched the VHS for Space Jam, like like my poor parents, like then, like, it's because that's not a good film, but like at that age for me that was The Godfather, like
Yeah.
but yeah, and yeah, just like I remember like when I was in like secondary school, and like a Friday night would be like, you know, sort of walking to Global Video, rest in peace. You know, like back when video shops were a thing, and it was very nice. Like, you know, like I was renting films that I was clearly too young to rent, but like, you know, they were just like, yeah, you know, here you go. And then studied film at uni. Did not make any use of that. But yeah, and worked in a cinema. Just naturally kind of happened, and just really enjoyed talking about that kind of stuff on stage. You know, I think everybody's kind of got their own angle, and that's something like I always like to pepper in a wee bit, like, you know, during like, you know, club sets and that. And so it's nice to be able to do like a full show of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Is there a film that stands out from your Global Video or Blockbuster days? Just you're walking in, you go past the little bin.
Yeah. So I remember like there was a period, Kerrang magazine, which was a music magazine. So I don't know why they did this, but one time they did like this list of the 100 most extreme movies ever made, like what their definition of extreme was. But like, but that was kind of like, I was like, oh god, I need to see all of these, and so there was a period as well, like, you know, you're simultaneously like trying to watch all the classics and everything, all the proper great films, but there was also like, do you remember Vipco, like where it's like, you know, like they did like DVDs of the Video Nasties, and the covers were always just like no actual artwork. It was just like a line of skulls and then just the title in like big white letters, and, you know, like kind of Cannibal Holocaust and Faces of Death and all that kind of shit. But yeah, I think I remember. I do remember renting American Psycho from the video shop, and like I remember like love watching films with my mum, but this was one where she was just like, oh, like do you want to watch that together? And I was like, sure, because I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be a little violent, but no, big mistake. That's not a film you want to watch with your mum.
No,
no. So that's that's the one that sticks in my memory.
Have you read the book of that?
I have, yeah.
I can, because like the story would advance, and then it'd be 3 pages of details on his clothes or something.
Yeah, like, he's describing his hi-fi.
Yeah, This is filler. This is like 90% of the book. Yeah.
Did you ever like? Because I remember that there was a period. Yeah, it was around about. I think maybe because like around about that age, you watch American Psycho, you watch Fight Club, and then you're like, well, I'm going to read all the Bret Easton Ellis and the Chuck Palahniuk books.
Yeah.
And I remember, did you ever read Lunar Park?
Lunar Park, no.
Like the first chapter is just all of the first chapters of his previous books.
Right.
I'm just like, this is fucking indulgent. No,
Is this Ellis?
Bret Easton Ellis. Yeah. And but because I remember like I really liking the book of like Rules of Attraction and stuff like that. But yeah, like American Psycho is a thick book, like, with just a lot
of shit.
Yeah, like I know it's not filler because it's the point, but yeah, like I think that's one case where the film is slightly better. Like Mary Harron made like really good film at that, and like love Christian Bale talking about how his performance is entirely inspired by Tom Cruise. Like he said in an interview, he was like, I watched an interview with Tom Cruise, and he was incredibly charismatic, but dead behind the eyes. And I don't know if Tom Cruise has ever heard that.
No.
But
sure, he must have at this point.
Yeah. I always thought, and I don't know what came out before, I'm sure American Psycho was just after Ace Ventura. If you watch American Psycho again and think it's Ace Ventura, he's like, Huey Lewis in the news, and he's all like that. It's so dead on, man. I was like, no, I can't take this film seriously anymore.
Yeah, he gets really hammy. Yeah, in, like this sort of like killing sequence.
It's Jim Carrey, man. He's talking shit. He was taking off Ace Ventura. So there's an absolute rank blockbuster story. So the videos that stand out in my mind, I always used to pass American Psycho and White Men Can't Jump. They had millions of copies of it for some reason. Never rented them.
Yeah.
But there's this guy who went to my school, I don't even know why I'm saying this. When we're in like third or fourth year, you go to Blockbuster every day and just like open up the videos and take a piss in it and just put it back on the shelf.
Oh Jesus!
He's in jail now. Like you can tell the kids are going to end up in jail. But like
That is psychotic behaviour.
Is that what that smell was?
that's right, sure.
But the glory days of VHS, you couldn't do that with a DVD case. It's too
Exactly.
shallow.
Oh dear.
Well, it's out in public now. I won't name him.
No, just for the viewers and listeners, the Air Blockbuster had a really distinctive kind of like damp, musty smell. It was like, yeah.
Can only be achieved by plastic video cases. of fish.
Yeah.
Any,
So-
any segues?
If Space Jam's a bad movie, what makes a good movie?
What makes a good movie? I mean, there's no one thing that makes a good movie. Although, like, I was talking to comedian Christopher MacArthur Boyd about this like the other week because like me and Liam Withnell were talking to him because he has still not seen Moonlight. And he's just not going around to Moonlight.
I've not seen Moonlight.
It's great. It's great. Like, I'm never going to shame anybody for having never seen a great film.
Apart from Christopher MacArthur Boyd on a podcast.
But like, it's like anytime somebody tells me they've not seen a classic, that's exciting. You get
Yeah.
to see it. You
Chance,
get to do
yeah.
that for the first time. That's. I mean, I've never seen The Untouchables. I will at some point this year, but like.
Oh, can I just quickly interrupt?
Yeah.
Untouchables is ruined because of the references, because it's the first scene you know the twist,
Yeah.
because it's in Family Guy, it's in everything.
Yeah.
So I had to put it off. I was like, that's no point.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Of course. Like I like I ruined Planet of the Apes for me. Like
Oh, right.
because of The Simpsons. But yeah, like trying to convince him to watch Moonlight, and I was just like, you know, the tunes are amazing, and at one point somebody makes a meal that you'll want to make at home, and that's cinema. That's like if those two things happen, great movie. You know,
Yeah.
Goodfellas. Like, you know, but yeah, what?
Or do you mean like the barometer of, or like the gauge of a good movie is if you leave like wanting to copy something or like emulate it in some way?
Well, like in my mind, like, you know, like, if film's got like a good bit of food in it, like that you
Right.
walk away. That's not a hard rule, but if a film's got like just good tunes and a good bit of food, you're like, this is probably a good fucking film, you know? Like,
I agree with the music, but I've never really contemplated the idea of like food within
No,
it.
no.
But definitely music makes.
yeah.
Saying that the like the cherry pie and the coffee in Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
always
yeah.
stood out, and I'm like, I want that now.
I remember I started watching Twin Peaks when I was about like 15, 16, and then all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna start drinking black coffee.
Yeah. Oh, you said it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're 15. You don't need to drink coffee at this point. But like, you know, I'm just like, no, I'm going to start now. But yeah, you never say you like never like watch Goodfellas and like, you know, think, oh, I need to make the garlic with the razor blade.
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah, that
difference
sticks
does
out
it
in my
make?
head
Yeah.
when they cut it so finely in the jail and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that definitely stood out.
There's a reference to it. I saw this the other day because I'm rewatching Clarkson's Farm, and there's a bit where they do like the scene like that scene,
Right, okay.
and he's got the razor blade and they're slicing up the garlic nice and thin. I just when you said that there because it's such a standout point in that film.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask you to maybe compile me like the top 3 or 4. Maybe not for this like right now, but because most of the films that you've just discussed here, I'm like, I've not seen it.
All right.
And I'm that person that when people say, "Have you seen it?" If not, someone knows me, it's like, "It's not seen it." It's not a chance you've seen it.
Okay. Off the top of my head, these aren't the greatest, but these like I mean,
Wait. Can we introduce this? If it's gonna be a
Absolutely.
Is
clip?
this a segment?
Yeah.
Is this your top? What is it?
Top movie foods. Yeah.
Top movie. Okay, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Top foods in movies.
Okay.
That as soon as you watch it, you want to eat.
Yeah.
With Chris Farmer.
Yeah. Okay. So
On
the,
Port During the podcast.
the Ratatouille and Ratatouille is up there.
All right.
The way they layer it, you know, they do the spiral of it. They cut it really thin with the mandolin. Like all that food in that film is animated, and it still looks incredible. Like
Yeah.
you want to eat it. Like there's that. This isn't a masterpiece of a film. It's a film I really like, but it's not. It's nobody considers it a great film. You ever seen the movie I Love You Man with like
Yeah.
Paul?
Paul Rudd, yeah.
And they go out for fish tacos, and that scene is like just you're like fish tacos, and now that's one of my specialty dishes. That's like
Fish
like,
I do
tacos
love
are-
fish tacos. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend stayed in Mexico for a bit, and she makes fish tacos. Oh my god!
Yeah. Does she batter the fish, or is it? Or...
Yes and no, had both.
Yeah. Either way, they're good.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the capacity to batter the fish at home, but like
Okay.
but yeah, fish tacos.
A wee scrumpled up nacho for the crunch. It
Ooh.
works really well.
Okay, I'm trying that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we have? Is that 3?
That's 3. Yeah.
That's 3. Okay. The pollo a la plancha. Pollo a la plancha. The chicken that they make at the end of Moonlight. That's not really a spoiler. Somebody makes chicken near the end of Moonlight.
Yeah, it's alright. Well,
Like,
it's not going to kill the film.
it's not going to try. It looks incredible. It comes with like black beans and stuff like that. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, that is a good looking bit of food. And then, all right, okay, number five. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay. Oh. There's Fuck, I don't know what the name of it is, but you ever see the Stanley Tucci movie Big Night?
I think I've watched the beginning of it, but not got all the way through.
It's really good, and it's another film that, like Ratatouille, set in a restaurant and has Ian Holm in it as the bad guy. But yeah, it's like Stanley Tucci and his brother, and they own a restaurant in Italy. But like they're having like all these people around for like one big night. They've told like it's set in the 50s, 60s, but they've told people that like that Louis Prima, the musician, is going to be there. It's a lie, but like they've told people so that like they can get like a lot of folk into their restaurant, and the big dish they make is I forget. It's got a fancy name, but it's like this big, like upside down pie that contains pasta, and it just looks like the biggest, stodgiest thing. Oh my god! Like I could never. I know that if I tried to make it, like I would absolutely fuck it up, and it's the kind of thing that you've spent 3 hours making.
It's
Like,
basically a giant macaroni pie.
kind of, but a lot better.
It says
It's a macaroni pie.
You sure it wasn't Still Game you were watching? It was Rhapsody Nesbitt. Can I counter with
Yes.
some food, right?
Okay.
I want you to close your eyes and just imagine, right?
this is no longer about portraiture or photography. This is straight up, we're just a food podcast
I
today.
love it.
Sorry. James and the Giant Peach. The peach. When they start eating the walls,
Oh yeah.
you start salivating.
What is it about animated food that like
Because
yeah,
it looks
true.
better than real life.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you've got that leniency to play with it.
yeah the Ninja Turtles like pizza stretch.
Yeah.
No pizza was as good.
And the
as-
colours are just on point and textures, yeah.
And the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the waterfall, and the walls they got to lick.
Oh
That
yeah.
was just that whole film. I was like, yeah, it's hungry.
Sitting
man.
there salivating.
I'm glad you said salivating.
I don't know. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I could never get with the river. Just like you see a sea of brown water, and you're like,
You're like, yeah, it reminds me of my air days. While we're on movies, right? So I won't say a fan because I doubt he is a viewer, or maybe just someone we found on Instagram asked the question. So Paul Costello,
oh nice.
you know him, yeah?
Yeah.
So they asked, what is the funniest introduction to a character in a movie?
Okay. Just off the top of my head, I'd say the funniest introduction. I remember the first time I ever watched the movie Hot Rod. You ever see Hot Rod with Andy
Yeah.
Samberg? Yeah, like I remember watching it for the first time, and yeah, the opening scene is he's going for the stunt, like he's got the big ramp and he's like trying to ride his bike off the ramp, make the big jump, and yeah, fumbles it, falls over. It's already funny. He's already like the music's already been funny. Like he's got like the Spirit of the Eagle, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm vibing with this film. He fucks up the trick, and I'm watching the film. I'm like, what would really be funny is if he threw up right now, and then he throws up. And I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest film I've ever seen. So that that's the one at the top of my head. I'd say
Nice.
like just
Nice.
like when because he throws up and it's the most perfectly timed smash cut straight to the next scene.
Yeah.
Like the editing of it is funny. Like
I need to watch that back.
Yeah.
Hot Rod as well. Yeah, thank you, Paul, for your question. That's a good one. It reminds me of the strong opening. Reminds me of Semi Pro when it's all black, but it's just him singing.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole bathtub full of sweat and "Love Me Sexy" and all that.
Love me sexy. that's not like the first Will Ferrell film that you go to, but like
No.
I remember there being some funny stuff. Because it's kind of like Woody Harrelson is more the main character in that film. If am I remembering? I've seen it
Semi-Pro?
once. Yeah.
Basically, all I remember is his hair and going
Yeah.
roving.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just starts running in circles.
Yeah. And I remember there's one bit where he's just screaming at the referee, "I will murder your family," and it's
Yeah.
just the funniest thing.
So, yeah, you made a good point about it not being about creativity.
Sorry.
No.
So-
It's,
no, it was our
it's a
fault.
different place to take it. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
I enjoyed that.
About
But,
food.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the coming up with your show,
Mm-hmm.
Cineman, what? Yeah, so you said like you've always included bits of movies in your set.
Mm-hmm.
When did you make the jump to say like, okay, this is what my actual show is going to be about?
I think it was like so. A few years back, I did a sort of like run at the Fringe. Like it was a sort of short run, and it was split halfway down the middle. Where like sort of like the first half, it was me and another comedian, John Agasild. We were doing a double hander, and that was a lot of fun. But also we were both still very like up and coming. Like you didn't have many like sort of credits or anything to our name at that point, and you're just like hustling flyer in to get folk in. And it was a lot of fun. But then the second half of the run, because he could only make the first half of the run, the second half of the run was a kind of a prototypical version of this, where
Okay.
I was like, okay, what if I do like solo thing and sort of like make it kind of film focused, and that was like again it just had a built-in audience. Like folk were coming in because they were like, oh yeah, we've seen this is about films, and like that's so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like having a USP to it, like that, like something that folk can latch on to and is good. And like I kind of just enjoy being I kind of enjoy being the pop culture guy. I feel a bit more comfortable talking about that than I do kind of trying to be relatable. Like
Yeah.
like I like it just
So if
'cause-
it's like a genuine passion, it comes through, and it's not even like an effort to be enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, and it's always a nice mode to be in on stage where you're like, I'm excited to tell you this, or
Yeah.
like this film. Have you considered this about it, or just being able to talk about that kind of stuff where you're like, I'd probably be talking about this off stage anyway,
Yeah.
so why not like try to make it part of the thing. Yeah.
So there was two questions from that, and one was, in terms of you being excited, does that last throughout the whole run of a show, or like by the time it's polished and you're near the end of it, you're like, oh my god, this bit again? And then, sorry, just before I forget as well. No, actually, answer that. Let's go.
Oh, no. There's that's the trick of like always like still keeping the excitement. There's a mix of like when you're performing, there is a mix of like being genuine, and then also there is an act to it,
Yeah.
and you are almost kind of like sometimes you're kind of summoning the fucking excitement or whatever, or the or the just like like every performer, not even just comedians, like gets that, where it's just like you might be having a bad day, you might not be fully into it, you then need to just get in the mode, get into the zone,
Yeah.
summon that up, like whatever way you can. But yeah, also it is always good, like after a few years, maybe retire a bit, like put it away for a while. You might come back to it. You might
Yeah.
like when you've set up fresh perspective. But yeah, it just as soon as you feel yourself start to go into autopilot, maybe that like find a different way to phrase it, find like or find something else to talk about. Yeah.
So it's like a natural push into like, okay, I'm getting a wee bit tired of this, so now I'm going to try and create new stuff and challenge myself. And
Yeah, and you've got good opportunities where, like, say, the weekend you get to do, like, outside of the Fringe, like, when it's just, like, other regular gigs, like, the weekend you get to do stuff that that works, that you've tried and tested, and then weekdays, that's for fucking around, finding out, like,
Right, okay.
you've got, like, those, like, sort of cheaper nights, like, where, like, your build is new material, and so folk are going in like with kind of understanding that like you're just trying stuff out, seeing what works, what makes it to that weekend set.
And the second question from the previous conversation, you want to be the pop culture guy. Do you struggle now that there's so many choices in films and TV shows? It used to be, like when you had even when you get Sky and stuff, everyone's seen the same thing. Everyone knows who like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger is, but now there's so many. You can't really keep up with it. So what do you judge as like the pop culture? Or is that from like Twitter or what is it?
I guess, well, between that and just, talking to other acts and stuff like that, I barely engage with television, like in terms of like material, because that I do feel kind of out the loop about. Like, not that I don't watch television, it's just I feel there's more like with TV, like that, as you say, like with streaming, everybody's watching different stuff, and sometimes people are watching like similar kind of stuff, but it's even at different times now, like where it's like like this person's only just started watching like say season 1 of The Bear, or like this person's finally getting around to like Game of Thrones or whatever. Like Game of Thrones is maybe a bad example because that was one of the last cases of like appointment viewing. And again, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. Like I did season 1 and it's like, this isn't for me. But like,
Right.
I
honestly, season 2, there's a guy, Balthazar the Barbarian, comes in. His beard's always covered in jizz.
It gives him his strength.
I think there's the title for the podcast.
Beard covered in jizz. Like, in the font of like a Song of Ice and Fire, like a beard of jizz and popcorn.
Oh yeah, like a Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, like everybody's watching different TV shows at the moment now, so like that's kind of hard to engage with, and like and I'm just watching repeats of Cheers in the morning, like
Right,
that's
okay,
like but like films, I think like you've got like, I mean, I mostly talk about classic stuff anyway, and then kind of with the film stuff. Yeah, there is a balance of like, this still needs to work if this person's not seen this film, like whether it's, so making it accessible enough in that kind of way. And that's you sort of like trial and error with that kind of stuff. Cause say like there's bits where like, I'll go into like I make like fake theme songs for films.
Right.
And it takes a little bit before you drop the title of the film, and watching an audience slowly figure out one by one what the film is before then the chorus kicks in, like with the title, and it's just like seeing that play out gradually at different spots in the audience. That's fun, and like, but yeah, making sure that there is that. It is still gratifying if you haven't seen those films, if you don't know those reference points. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So how do you go about doing that? You're dropping sort of breadcrumbs for people to sort of get references?
Again, just you've got these kind of newer material nights, experimental nights where you can go out, you can try it, and see firsthand with an audience, right? Like, did this play? Like, did this kind of like was the reaction enough? Yeah, and sort of like one by one, like sort of like work through that. Yeah.
So in terms of writing material and writing comedy, did you say, so you're doing stuff during the week, that's how you kind of workshop stuff, and then you're taking notes or speaking to other comedians after a show if it's a collaborative? Is there like how much preparation goes in before stage? Like, are you writing stuff down? Are you taking notes or?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's people have their own sort of like methods. It's not really often that I've sat down like with like say like the laptop, just like now it's time to write the set.
Yeah.
It's more a kind of like, yeah, you've got your notebook filled with like little, odds and ends and scraps and stuff like that. And say like if you're on the train to the gig, then you're like, okay, we'll do this bit, like just sort of like accumulate them all together. Yeah, like so yeah, my method's kind of a little scrappy, but like some folk have more disciplined kind of approaches to it. Yeah, like I mine's is a little messy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it's interesting hearing the range of techniques. Terium said one which I really liked, and that was that just naturally, if there's a story that I gravitate to and tell people and people laugh, and I've said it a few times, I'm like, that's a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so simple. Yeah, it's like so logical. Like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
clever.
and it's great seeing as well, like, because you see like people's different. That'll sometimes reflect their different, like deliveries on stage as well. Like Terium's really good at like just like he will do a set that is just like one long story,
Right.
And that's great. And then you've got other acts that are just like, right, I'm going to do this bit, then this bit, then this bit, this bit, and they're like seeing just how that kind of reflects in their sort of writing process. But yeah.
Do you have a preference for what you watch?
In terms of comedy,
Yeah.
or, yeah, I mean, I kind of like to try to take in everything. But yeah, it's yeah, like there's really good, because you get a lot of stuff on Netflix that is really good, but is also like a great deal of it is famous people that have already found their audience, and they are and so you're watching like oh well, Seinfeld's doing well tonight. It's just like, yeah, like folk are out to see Jerry Seinfeld. He's going to but so you've got stuff like there's on ITV Player, they've got a sort of deal with like Next Up at the moment, where like a Next Up is just a lot of folks' fringe shows, like sort of like British acts, a lot of stuff that's been filmed in Monkey Barrel, and then it's like, so folk who are doing their shows like from the British scene, just like working comedians playing, and it's August, it's the Edinburgh Festival, it's mostly a crowd of tourists, and so it's more of a sort of authentic kind of representation of like it's all a real gig, but you know what I mean, like just like this is somebody who's genuinely playing. They're not there to see that person necessarily, and so they're getting like a completely objective room.
Yeah.
And it's really good to be able to have access to both, and like everything in between is kind of like really nice. Yeah.
And sorry, when you go.
I was going to say, because, yeah, like when you say about the Seinfeld, like people who go to a gig for a named person, they paid their money for that.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're going to, well, they know close to what they're going to get. They know they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But there's probably a deeper joy in finding somebody that, finding someone that was unexpectedly like blew your mind in terms of like funniness or like relatability or something like that, rather than, yeah, I'm a big Gervais fan, so if Gervais comes to Glasgow, yeah, I'd take my money, I know I'm going to enjoy it. But there's probably, it's like going back to food, finding a dish that you probably thought, it doesn't really look like that, and then you taste it and it's like, wow, there's probably a deeper joy in finding new things.
100%. Like, and with these like really big names, like, and I like some of my favorite acts, like it's really difficult, like, for them to kind of keep that kind of that spark of like when they were kind of hungry. Like, you get acts that are capable of doing that, but like, there've been like acts like you do see a certain point in their life where, like, it's still a joy to see them. I will still watch every special, but their best stuff is
they've lost that edge.
Yeah, and it's through no fault of their own. It's like, because like if you're coming out every night to crowds of like thousands who are delighted to see you, you're gonna have a good gig every night, and like
Yeah.
you know.
I think music's a bit similar to that as well. That people they almost become a victim of their own success, and the thing they've got to talk about is then success. And how do you make that relatable to most people most of the time? Quite difficult when you're just talking about, you know, money or cars or whatever. It's boring.
Yeah, like
That ties into a special that really annoyed me. And you seem like a really nice guy. I don't know if stuff you get better about stuff or stuff annoys you, but on behalf of comedians, I get annoyed when Ken Jeong got a Netflix special, and he's not a stand-up, and he just went out and the crowd were all laughing at him, but all he did was make Hangover references and make a pun about his wife's name, which was like Fook, something like that. And I was like, you don't deserve a special. And he actually says on stage, I've got so much money. Kevin Hart said if I did a special, I'd make X amount of millions. And obviously he's playing the kind of arrogant guy.
yeah.
But it was still like, yeah, but part of that is true.
Yeah. I know the special you're talking about, and I've not watched. I wasn't in a rush to see it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've liked Ken Jeong on stuff like
Yeah,
a
of
big
course,
Community
yeah.
fan, but like, yeah, I was like, is he a stand-up? Yeah, and there are a few, like, especially on Netflix, you know, like where almost like kind of celebrity bookings
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's like, okay, this will.
So sell a room.
Yeah, it'll draw viewers,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, it's not the.
It's not the best content in the world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any difference. Netflix still make their money off it.
Yeah,
And like being cynical about it, doesn't the talent part of it's not really a part of it's the name.
yeah, and there's a degree of that not just with like stand up. Netflix has kind of got that thing. I feel like this happens every Christmas now, where like some bad Netflix Christmas movie will come out and people are like, oh, you need to see this one. It's set in Scotland, but like none of the references are correct and the accents are bad. Yeah, they're doing this on purpose because then you'll hate watch it and that will add to the viewership. Viewership is still viewership for them.
Wait,
so, like,
wait. Can I really hope you're not talking about the Eurovision movie.
Oh, no,
Because that's amazing.
not the Eurovision movie. No.
Yeah, Ding Dong is a classic.
I really enjoyed that. All right, like
Again, I've not seen this again.
Oh, sorry, I just had to make sure. I just had to defend that movie. It's an all-time classic.
I really enjoyed that film. No, there was one. It was called like A Castle for Christmas,
Okay.
and like but like it's like there needs to be an option now on Netflix or something of like you select like. By the way, I'm hate watching this. Don't add this to my algorithm, and don't think we want more of this. You know, like,
Watch it and then click the thumbs down.
yeah.
But see, but there is a thumbs down or thumbs up, isn't there? For
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I've never used it.
No.
I'm gonna go do it to Ken Jeong tonight. I was wanting to ask how you get into comedy. Will we do Terium's questions first?
Yeah, go for it.
So Terium's got two questions for
nice.
you. Whether you want to answer them or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
His first question is, tell us about your nipple transformation journey.
So what this is like, this was like one of the first times that something I posted on Twitter started getting like big numbers, and where it starts getting like shared and like retweeted and like so often that it goes from like, okay, this has gone from being fun to now it's a little too big, and now it's out there, but it was a sort of spoof of like those kind of like, you know, those like body transformation kind of things. I was
Okay.
I had like a before and an after picture, and I was just like, you know, like I don't normally do this, but
So specific to the nipple.
yeah, well, yeah, I was like two topless photos of myself, and I was just like, this time last year, I was feeling very self-conscious about my body, and I decided I wanted to make a change. So
We
I
need
started
these photos for the edit.
yeah, I'll send them to you.
Thank you.
I started, and I'm happy to report that after a year, my nipples have grown 4 times in size, and I just photoshopped my nipples to be bigger.
Oh, right,
and,
okay.
And then, you know, like my friends, you know, they find it funny, and they're like, this is funny. Then they start to share, and then it gets shared and shared and shared more and more and more, and then you see it growing legs, and then all of a sudden, then you have like just people in America who think it's real, and and they're sharing it, and again, it's even that's all funny, but then. That's going on for several days. Your phone is unusable because it's just vibrating constantly, and it's just like and just like by day 4 of just strangers in America saying very mean things about your body,
Medical
which I
freaks.
entirely opened myself up to. By the way, it's entirely on me. But just like, yeah. Like,
What kind of things are this?
oh,
Any funny ones?
Oh, just folk throwing up gifts and stuff like that
Right,
because they think my nipples have that, and also maybe just the shirtless in general kind of thing. But like, also that, and like again, it's like a kind of colloquial American thing. I've never been called the N-word before.
Oh,
I don't know. I
nipple.
don't know. But like this neighbor got massive nipples, you know, like,
Right, okay, yeah.
and it's just like, this is a new feeling. Like never been called that before.
I just imagine them looking like a couple of like Scotch pancakes dropped in
A couple of macaroni pies. I'm sure there's some.
It's a 3D image.
Is it an actor or a wrestler? And there's a page that just keeps posting pictures of them, but just subtly enlarging their nipples, so they look kind of gross and kind of like big fat marshmallowy. It's a guy,
Yeah.
and they just keep doing it continuously, and it keeps popping up my feed every now and then. I'm like, that's not his nipples, man. And it's not like joke big. It's just like a wee bit too big.
Yeah, and it's out of his hands. Now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, and he can't be out. He can't go out and do a press conference. Just like, I just want to say, those are not my nipples. Like, you've already lost. You've lost.
And that reminds me of like
I need to delete one of Chris's photos actually now.
It was cold that day.
I think it's a whole subfolder.
It's your nipples caught in the barras. sign.
That reminds me, like at work last week, I took a selfie of like myself and a colleague were out on a boat doing DNA sampling, and she did like a thumbs up, and my boss. We were talking about for some reason like she's got quite long thumbs relative to the size of her digits.
Mm-hmm.
And so my boss like photoshopped her thumb, so it was just like what you're saying, subtly longer than
Yeah.
it really should be.
Yeah.
And it's already slightly larger than it should be. And the photo, like at a normal like size,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even like notice. I didn't double take.
Yeah.
And then when you zoom in, you're like, Jesus Christ, that's weird.
So
It's like I don't know, like I think like sloths are really big, like for like gripping branches.
Yeah.
Sloth claw.
I'm just thinking, like, if we get a guest on in the future, just like give them like a massive forehead and weird fingers, but like
Yeah.
don't mention, just see if they're like, yeah, they're really nice. What's
Just
what's
like drop one in, like one
Yeah.
frame each.
It's a great way to just like gaslight someone.
Yeah.
And each one, like, say their forehead will be like progressively larger and larger.
Bigger and bigger.
And then-
Photoshop's got so good at doing that stuff
Yeah.
so easily.
Thank God for content-aware Phil.
We can like mega mind. Can you tell us? There's no segue again. Can you tell us about how you thought? Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna try stand up, and like what you had prepared and the lead up to it. Were you nervous, like all that kind of stuff?
So I'd already been like when I was living in Ayr, a bunch of us we had been to uni together. Like after we had left, we'd started a sort of like theatre troupe anyway, and we were doing sort of half and half, like sort of our own productions. And then, like, we were getting, like, sort of funding from the council to do more, like, family-friendly kind of stuff,
Okay.
which would then sort of, like, bankroll those. And we did that for a wee while.
Is that the Gaiety or?
No. We were doing, like, sort of productions, like, sort of... there was one in, like, the marketing and... God, I forget the names of the places. There used to be... There was, like, a sort of coffee place that...
Was it the Basement Coffee House?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. And there was this, a few other places. But then like, so kind of had like experience a bit like of like being in front of an
Performing.
audience anyway. But it was at that point like I was starting to really get into comedy. It was before even like Netflix specials or anything. It was more like I'd gotten Spotify, and Spotify had all these like sort of American comedy albums.
Yeah.
Like folk like Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford, and folk like that. Like sort of went down that rabbit hole, and then from there, just started occasionally just going to the stand, like traveling through to Glasgow to go see stuff at the stand. And then I was like, I'd like to give this a try. And like one of the things we did was we put on these like scratch nights at like the Market Inn, where it's like an opportunity for performers and like to come up and do little short things. And that was where I did my first one. And again, for the first like few years, it was very occasional. Like, you know, I do maybe a gig every 2 months or so. And then it was when I moved to Glasgow that like became a lot more like kind of disciplined of like, I would like to do this more regularly. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, so that's just kind of how that came about. I was like binging a lot of comedy at that point, and I was like, I would like to give this a try. Like, I've seen it live now, and this looks, traveled through to like the Edinburgh Fringe. Like, I just booked myself like a Airbnb, booked myself like a bed and breakfast, like and I was just by myself. I just went to go see a bunch of stuff. The first thing I saw was, do you know the comedian Eddie Pepitone?
Eddie Pepitone, no.
He's great. He's got a special on Amazon called For the Masses. So funny. He's great.
American?
Yes, yeah. So older American act, but like saw him at the basement of the Tron, and it's just fucking life changing. Like, because it was like just like packed room, and guy is fucking electric, and you're just like, this is like, fuck, this is where I want to live. This is where I want to spend my nights. Yeah. Like,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And in terms of the material for your first night, like, has your process changed from when you did it that first time till now?
oh yeah, I was dog shit.
Like, just the writing process, not like
Oh,
quality?
the writing process. Well, yeah, like with the writing process, like like with that one, I was like very much like, I'm writing down a joke book, and it was all very one-liners.
Okay.
Which not really anymore. Like, but yeah, at that point, it was just all just like, there's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. Like, you know, you're just
Do you remember any of those?
Any air specific ones?
Air specific. No local stuff. Trying to. The one terrible. I again, this is awful.
This is gonna be good.
But like, yeah, I had a job teaching violin lessons to children. But the first meeting of the Ayrshire Kiddie Fiddlers didn't go very well. Like, you know, like, just, you know, just
We'll put up
that,
on Instagram.
yeah, just that, like, yeah, that's like the kind of quality it was. Yeah, like, yeah.
It's probably a bit too close to home in most parts of Ayr.
But yeah, that, and for a very brief while was a ukulele guy as well. It was a different
Oh, yeah?
time. Oh, yeah.
It's part of the act.
Yeah. Like when you're just trying stuff out there for like, who the fuck am I on stage?
Yeah.
Like, and
Tiny Tim vibes, or
like not with the high pitched voice.
Yeah.
Or anything, but yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, 'cause I might be wrong with this, but there's not many comic acts that have sort of props in that sense, are there? Or are there?
is that not a bit taboo today that they're kind of seen as hacks? But there are some good ones.
Yeah, there are like good ones. I'm trying to think prop comedians.
I think
'Cause-
Rick Glassman's sort of ventured into prop,
Yeah.
and then you get obviously Carrot Top, but he just does residencies now, right?
Yeah,
And you get people like, see on TikTok, I don't know if you've seen him, Zach Zucker.
he's great.
He's hysterical, and I don't know if like sound effects are considered props, but that's kind of
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah, because he's doing this amazing thing because he's Zach Zucker, but he's got his character Jack Tucker, and the idea is that like he is a bad comedian,
Uh-huh.
but he's genuinely so funny in that like role, and like just with he's got the look, like with the tucked out shirt and everything, like like
he's so comfortable bombing.
Yeah,
but it makes it funny,
and like that paired with like the sound effects and stuff like that. Like he runs that night Stamptown, and like they've done a few in Edinburgh. They do like them in London and like LA and stuff. And I know he's coming through. He's coming through for Edinburgh, nice, so right? But no, he's fantastic. But yeah, I'm trying to think of prop acts. I know for you do have like some acts who like say like I like when I do like the Fringe show, I use projection like for like visuals and stuff. Saw Sam Campbell the other night opening for Conor O'Malley, and he similarly uses like sort of PowerPoint and projection and stuff like that. So fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm struggling to think of prop acts. I know there will be. Yeah.
What inspired you to go down down that road for a little bit?
Well, it was like.
I suppose ukulele's not really a prop act, is it? It's like a musical.
Yeah. It was like a sort of musical kind of thing, and like at that time, like Bo Burnham was still on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then you had Dimitri Martin as well, who like would have like his guitar and his flip chart, and Dimitri Martin wouldn't even really be doing songs. He would just be like playing his guitar while saying one-liners.
Right. Like Zach Galifianakis at the
Purple Onion. Yeah, that DVD
so
was like a big one as well. That was one that when he's telling the story about like when the guy who drove up to him and his pal just went like, 2 pussies, and he's wondering how many people would it have to have been for him to have not just driving on 18 pussies. that was one like me and my friends would repeat to like, walking through him just like 18 pussies.
I think I mentioned it before in the pod, but he chats about when he started stand up, he had this whole like themed bit where he came out as like a Tudor or an English Tudor, and he was wearing like a tunic and just did jokes that were like pop culture of the time, but nobody got them, and it just completely bombed. But he was like, honestly, when I was thinking it, I was like, this is the most hilarious show ever. Why has no one done
that? Like that's a weird thing as well, like because there are people who are able to do that kind of thing of they will not pretend to be a bad comedian, but like pretending to be nervous and like for stuff to go wrong, and it's all part of it. That's such a fine line to walk. It's so hard to do that well, but when you see that done well, it's incredible. But yeah, there's such a confidence to doing that because an audience might not pick up on it, or they might take a while to realize what. They might genuinely just think this gig is going badly.
Shit.
And
like,
and
Mitch Hedberg is a good example, maybe.
Yeah, like he was another guy. I think why like when I first started went down the more like one-liner route was because it was watching like Mitch Hedberg and Dimitri Martin and stuff like that, where like just again look, there's no connection in between his lines. He just goes from one to the other to the other, and like he's got that amazing like. Delivery, like no one else talks like him. And so like if somebody else tried to do one of his jokes, it might not work because
that happened on TikTok. Some other comedian, he is really funny. All the comments just Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah,
it's just because he spoke like this, like he was getting rinsed, man. That's a shame.
What is there that's advantageous about that for an audience or for the performer? Maybe come across as nervous or not doing so well when in fact they're in total control of that. Is it getting the sort of empathy side and getting the audience to maybe feel not sorry for you, but to give you a little bit more space to do your thing?
I think it can be played to like different ends. Like for the record, I don't do that. I'm just genuinely nervous. But you've got like folk who. Sometimes it could be like that kind of magic trick, that like pull and reveal, like the old Andy Kaufman one, where like he's going out, he's letting the crowd second guess him, and then so like when he does some big flourish,
Elvis, whatever,
and then it's like holy shit, or I don't know if you've ever seen like Bill Hader's audition for Saturday Night Live, where like
No.
it's like, so sometimes with auditions for Saturday Night Live, like before they get them into the theater, the producers will just like go out to a club and like and watch a set, and Bill Hader is in character as the Italian busboy at the comedy club, and they're like, we're gonna let him come out and do a set, and like you know, just
Okay.
like and just like, you'd like impression, and like they're okay, this weird Italian guy's gonna do some impressions, and then he pulls out his first impression, like and I think he's doing like Gregory Peck
Okay.
in like To Kill a Mockingbird. But then you just see him completely change, and he does an incredible Gregory Peck, and he's just like, "Oh fuck!" Like this guy played
Yeah.
us. There's that, or there's also like in terms of the deliberately bad comedy is like it's almost like kind of highlighting to you cliches or techniques that you didn't even weren't even aware of, like watching like a good spoof movie kind of thing, like of just like, oh, I didn't even realize that was a trope or an archetype until you're playing this back to me now. Like my friend Richie Brown, he does this amazing like character, the Foster's comedy RoboHack, where it's like he's just got a Foster's beer box
I think
on
I've
his
seen a
head.
photo of that, yeah.
Yeah, and like he just goes out, stands in front of the mic. It's all pre-recorded, but he's like a robot who's been programmed to do stand-up comedy, and he's like, "Hello, thanks for coming, and I was once gigging in rural area, and have you ever been to rural area? Like there were people fighting and shitting on the streets, and that's just the women. Thanks for coming. Thanks for or like we've all got that one friend who negative character trait, and if you don't have that one friend, then you're that friend." like just bits that you're like, oh fuck, I've seen other comedians do that, and
Yeah.
now I know that that's like stock, or it's like kind of hack, or yeah.
And does that ruin it for you? Like, see when you look behind the curtain, so to speak, like with, you know, for example, some people will be like, oh yeah, like Mark Norman's a great one-liner comic. He always compares this is like this is like this, and then you watch it, and because someone's told you that who's in comedy, and you're like, this is like this is, and you're like, oh yeah, he's just doing that all the time.
I think it's good.
Sounds so negative about other
No.
I like him.
I think it's good. It keeps you on your toes. Mark Norman's, I really like him.
Yeah,
but people talk about like the way that like comedy doesn't age well, and I don't think that's just in a like poor taste kind of thing. Like it's not even like a, you know, like what becomes offensive or whatever. It's even just like some film must have been the first film to have, say, something happen in a restaurant scene, and for one of the characters to go, "Chick, please." Like
Yeah.
that somebody was the first to do that,
Yeah.
and then that became doing that as a joke is the joke, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just everything happens in cycles, you know, like, you know, somebody's the first to do it, like it works, then people become aware of its formula, and then you have to be more inventive after that. So it just kind of keeps you
Yeah.
fresh, you know.
Do you think the cycles of having to keep up fresh are so much quicker now? Because let's say, for example, like we're into photography, and we'll see like, you'll see like a video trend, the Wes Anderson trend.
Yeah.
You saw one, you're like, that's amazing, and then you see 2 and 3, and then there's 25, and everyone's doing it. You're like, this is just pish. Like, can someone come up with an original idea and not have everyone copy it? Like, come up with your own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's especially when you bring in the online thing to it as well. I mean, like when you see like the lifespan of a meme, like it can be. I mean, I'm really online and it's poisoned my brain, but like there could be good ways. I like when a meme fucking mutates and just like, you know, it like, you know, it goes on past the point of like repetition and like, you know, copy, where it's like, I don't even recognize you anymore. And if you try to explain this, what you find funny, if you try to explain that to like somebody who's not on, like, your parents or something, and they're like, I have no idea why that's funny, and like that kind of repetition, or like, you know, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't quite know what I'm saying, but like like it's like there's a good way. There's a good way that something can be like sort of like repeated and kind of.
You've got a historical context to something that gives it its sort of standing in the world.
Yeah.
Then the variations that come off the back of that are the things that sort of become funny. But
Yeah.
they're only funny because you and a load of other people, it's like an in-joke.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what the nucleus of it was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's gone into something new.
Yeah. And sometimes now, because I'll see stuff. I barely go on TikTok and or like, there's now younger people on like the internet. There are memes. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. This is like a completely different fucking language,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. Like
Absolutely.
it's like
Yeah.
that like
They're
just
creeps, man.
yeah. like-
Younger folk, there's this whole NPC trend. It's like TikTok folk are making thousands just be like, hi. And they just kick about like they're a non-playable character. It's the whole, I'm main character. Like, honestly, they're
Have you
creeps.
heard of the High Elves?
They're so weird, man. I'm sure the older generation thought that about us, but like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
next generation,
It's weird when it starts happening to you.
Yeah.
It's the
Old man
it's
in the rocking chair.
it's the Grandpa Simpson thing. Is I used to be it, and then they changed what it was.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you struggle with that? So like, I've heard a few people talk about in the creative industries, like you need to make sure you're creating more than you consume. And if you said you're very online, do you find that has a negative effect on your ability to create?
I mean, I don't know about creating more than you consume.
Or like,
Wow.
yeah, it's a bit of a tall order these days, isn't it?
Uh,
I don't know. It depends. I mean, obviously, it's very
Try to at least.
Yeah, it's predicated on like how much time you spend on a phone, basically nowadays,
Yeah.
or TikTok
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like at the moment,
Right, just cut it out, fuck's sake. Right.
do you know?
No,
I feel
no,
like
no,
at the
no.
moment, like we spend like a lot of time creating stuff either through this or for business or
Ah.
for fun. I feel like it probably outweighs in terms of time spent looking at things.
Yeah.
Definitely in terms of like film stuff. Like I don't watch a lot of television, or not television necessarily, but like watch films or that side of thing. But that's probably a downfall as well for what we do.
Yeah. But I just mean in the niche, like say for example, I definitely consume way more podcasts than I do. But we just started.
Oh no, yeah. Well, when you put it like that, actually, yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
easily.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it all back. I was
no.
completely off the mark with that one.
No.
It was an interview with somebody and they said like it's so easy now just to get stuck in this rabbit hole of consuming things and then you see ideas and you're like, oh, I can't come up with anything like that, and then you get kind of downtrodden and he's like, try and create more than you consume.
Okay.
That was the kind of ethos of it.
Yeah.
But I worded it horribly.
Oh no. Like, I mean, because like, surely like. You get stuck in the creating for so long though, then, and it's like, where's the fuel though? Like yeah,
Right, yeah.
And it's not even just like like listening to like other podcasts or like watching films or TV. So like it's fucking just life,
Yeah.
like, and it's just like I don't like. I sometimes get that way. Say if I've been gigging too many nights in a row, and it's just like, oh fuck, all I know are gigs now, and I need to go have a fucking experience
Experiences.
so I can fucking churn that into content. But,
Yeah. It's all to like serve this one thing.
like something bad happens to you, and you're just like, oh, this is
This
a
is quite
story now. Like, just broken inside.
It's probably quite a positive place to work from for a lot of things though, because you can turn bad into good.
Yeah.
And then good's good anyway, so it's even better because you've now got this thing to go and tell people about.
Yeah. Like,
Concoct a story around it.
yeah. It's a weird one. Like, you sometimes see like it's great to see like people like able to take like significant things that are happening to them, like and being able to like turn it into like great pieces of art. Like you are also like you are processing it though as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like because like it's important that folk like look after themselves that way as well. Like just like as long as you're also like there's you sometimes see like like newer comedians like on stage saying that like it's cheaper than therapy. Yeah, but it's not therapy. And don't inflict this on people.
I like on that vein. There's a really old Bill Burr video. Where he's doing I think he's doing a Q&A or some crowd work at the end, and he speaks about on Christmas Day, he came down, him and his brothers, and his dad had got him I think it was like a doll's house or a wee teddy or something like that, and then said, because he cried at sports the day before, and he's like, oh, that's because you're a big wuss, whatever, blah blah blah, and that traumatized him, and he's crying when he's on stage. Bill Burr, who's like you associate him with just being angry and rough, but then in his next special a few years later, he did an amazing joke about it, and I loved that, man. I really like. I think he gets a bad rep sometimes and gets called kind of old school, but I absolutely love Bill Burr, man. He's so F is for family. Everything he does is gold.
I I remember he did that. Did you ever see his episode of SNL?
When he hosted, I don't think so.
Oh man, it was good. There was some good sketches in there. It's. I think there's a sketch I think it's just called the woke mob, and it's just a very fun a chance for folk that, saying social mafia, but they're socially progressive.
Right, okay,
It's very funny. Because he's a don who's just come out of prison and
struggling to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And they're plotting crimes and everything like that. But it's oh well, no, we don't say that anymore.
No, I've not seen that. I'll give it a watch.
But yeah, as you say, he's worked on it, and then he's able to come back, and now he's able to turn it into art. Yeah.
That was nice to see. His podcast is amazing as well.
Yeah.
Did you have any? What time are we on?
We're
1 hour 21.
Oh. Did you have any questions for photos?
I've got one more from me before we probably should segue into photos.
Sure.
When do you create your best art?
Can
I'll give that a little bit of nuance. Is it when you're happy or sad or something in between? And then more specifically, is it times of the day where is it in case you wake up and you've got ideas, or do you need time in the day for those ideas to kind of percolate and mature into something? Then it's night time. How does it work?
I've found I'm at my best when I'm happy, and I've woken up really early, and I'm a little tired. But, if I can, I like to wake up at 6 a.m. And I think maybe it gives you that little stoned feeling without being stoned. It's. All those years I wasted, I could have just been setting an alarm.
But see, I can't relate to the stone thing at all. But I'm an early riser, and I think for the most part I do my best stuff early doors.
Yeah.
5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Black coffee.
Yeah. And I found that's when I'm able to do my best. Yeah, I know other folk, they will write late at night and stuff like that. No, that's my happy spot. Yeah,
it's just interesting. There's a very broad spectrum in terms of how people work it, and they all produce great art in their own right. It's just there's a big variation there.
So many variations, yeah. And apart from your show Cineman, which is at the Fringe, is there anything else you want to plug? I know you're on Bad Movies with Great Comedians podcast with Billy and Kate Hammer, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Oh yeah, so it's myself, Billy Kirkwood, Kate Hammer, Rick Molland, and Christopher Scott. We sort of all rotate together. Yeah, so we do that podcast. I don't know when this is going out, but I'm doing the Edinburgh Festival, my show Cineman, from the 10th till the 27th of August. And I run comedy night at Drygate Brewery on the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Nice. Tuesday's going to be my Glasgow office days, actually. That will work really well. If I want to do a wee Drygate. Nice. Yeah, the bad Movies with Great Comedians podcast I really enjoy. I like the Adam Sandler debate. I felt like I wanted to be in the room, sticking up for my boy.
It's such a we each had different views on Adam Sandler,
and the whole spectrum.
He holds a strange place to us. That Netflix special that he did
phenomenal.
It's incredible.
So
like, and I went in skeptical, and I was almost immediately won over.
Yeah.
It's such a joy of a special. I love it.
I don't know if you're the same, and it's, you know how as a comedian you need people that actually laugh out loud, and a lot of people just kind of like laugh quite quietly or whatever, and it's not ideal for a comedian. But who make, like, Adam Sandler, I know I was pissing myself laughing at. Bo Burnham, I had a few, like, I think that's one of the best specials I've ever seen because it's so powerful, but I wasn't sitting there laughing out loud.
Sure.
It was just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So like, what makes you just what makes you lose it?
Comedian wise, or
Yeah,
something?
comedy or comedian.
Kyle Kinane, it always like makes me laugh. He's an American comedian. Like, a few of his specials are now available for free on YouTube, and his delivery, his albums I can listen to again and again because he's almost got like a sort of musical quality to his voice of like, I know these routines, but I just love the way that you say them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and not to be basic, but just the Jackass movies. I've gotten into a thing like, I watch the Jackass movies with my mother-in-law now because she every single time she's just like, no, I'm not going to enjoy this, and then within minutes she's laughing her ass off.
Oh, nice.
They are universal. Like you could show the Jackass movies to anybody from any part of the planet. They're going to love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fundamental. you know?
The Jackass was just a phenomenal movement. Like, everybody was making their own Jackass clips.
Yeah, but no one can get it quite right like them. There's a special sauce to it.
Yeah,
You know?
like Dirty Sanchez went further but didn't have the charisma.
No.
The Jackass charisma, they've all got something.
Yeah.
And have you seen Wild Boys? Also.
Yeah.
Very good.
Chris Pontius, man. Oh, yeah.
Best laugh
Yeah.
in the world. It's like Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, the photos. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm
going to say David's just going to stop that camera
Okay.
so we got a full
I was sniffing.
compose.
Oh,
Okay.
that felt like so much. I just felt like a fun conversation. I kept forgetting to ask about creativity. I felt like
I'm
it's-
so
it's like-
sorry I got derailed. With
no,
that
it was
food and
like
shit.
I absolutely loved it. Cheers.
That was brilliant. I'll do a screen recording of this. Right, what folder you want to open first?
Let's see. So jumps and runs, patch them because that's just for
Oh,
reviews.
hang on. What is this?
Get some water first.
Okay. Sorry, which one do you want first?
I'll go black and white first because I like them, but the people I've run it by are saying like the colour ones are better.
Oh, I might be one of those people.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. It's
Yeah.
you and Amanda. So
Connoisseurs.
what order is this in? I'll just need to talk through them. So started off. I don't think this is the wall we started off with, but anyway, we have some kind of classic headshots, and we were talking earlier. I think you said in Iceland you were looking at the photos and the eyes of Craig
Yeah.
popped, and we're talking about the editing process. So with this one, just if it's of any interest to everyone, you'll see it's a very shallow depth of field, so you get the kind of blurred background, maybe towards their kind of ears and stuff. It's softer,
Yeah.
but the main kind of purpose of a portrait, anyway, from people I've watched and the people that I like, is to connect you to the person in terms of like the eyes and stuff like that. So you get the eyes edited and kind of popped out. You get the contrast up, sharpness up, the clarity up, a little bit of texture, and then you go over it again with like a brush, and you get like the kind of T. So you get the moustache, the hair and the eyes, and then just kind of darken the background to make sure you were like the main focus of it.
This is great.
Um,
This is nice, like, because this is like, you know, like when you start, just okay, now get a nice one for your nan.
yeah. So again, I think this one comes in colour as well. This was obviously in the Barras, but absolutely loved this wall.
But yeah, the wall's great.
I think that this one you had a smile, but you had a little bit of sadness in your eyes. Which I quite like that for the photo. It's quite like a, again, just a kind of standard portrait. There's a lot of these just with the plain backgrounds, and I know you edit posters and stuff, right? So it's kind of the plainer the background, the easier to chop out.
Yeah.
And And then Cineman.
Oh,
I
yeah?
thought this one looked like you're in a movie.
Yeah.
There's something quite cinematic about the whole
Kind of like
aesthetic.
The black and white's great.
an Inspector Clouseau kind of guy.
You just got a strong face for for portraits. The very you've got a good moustache. Like I've got a moustache. Ours got a moustache. We're not on the same level.
Yeah.
So the dense growth there. It's just and an expressive face. I think that's the thing that we've taken away from like some of this as well so far is I think the people with the best who make the best portrait models are the people with expressive faces.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a good person because my face it just sort of sits like this.
I like the photos of you at Terium's.
Yeah, no, actually, that's true. That's true.
Um,
But still not the same. It's not same caliber. Not same caliber of face.
So
I blame my mum and dad.
if we're making a short video of the photos later on down the line, I think we're going to do like shorter videos just for photo people.
Yeah.
So we had Chris Thorburn at the Barras in Glasgow, the old market. During the event, I tried to take film portraits, forgot how to use my own film camera. There's a protective slide that you need to take out, couldn't work it out under the pressure. And while I was fumbling about with it, I got stung in the neck by a wasp or something like that, bit in the neck, immediately lump and went red. So it was an eventful
God.
shoot.
Yeah, that was like first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even taken a single photo yet and I got bit. I was like, oh my God.
The entire time we were like, is he gonna be okay? Collapse at any point?
Some sort of epileptic.
Oh crap, what did I do?
So probably something like that. There you go.
There we go.
And then this one, and I want him on the podcast because he's one of my favourite photographers, Simon Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
He has a series called 100 Rolls where he took like 100 rolls of film out in Glasgow, gets kind of characters around Govan Hill, Southside, and he's got another series called Govan Hill. And this was me trying to channel his style.
Yeah.
His are usually not like sitting down, but it's not like a comedy portrait, but I just quite like this one.
Yeah, no, I
hope
love
that's
it.
all right.
It's very like I didn't even know.
Okay, colour. Can you...
That is classy.
Stan, can you do it for me?
I'll sort it. What do you want next? Jumps, runs, or colour edits? Colour edits?
Colour. Jumps and runs are for just reels.
Okay.
So this is part of the story, the Chris Thorburn cinematic universe.
By the way, thank you for like very quick. Like, hey, what if I just jumped in the boot of your car? You're like, yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So one thing I said, like, A, you came suited and booted, which I really appreciate, and it made for great photos. The shoes were class. B, you had a range of expressions and ideas, which is awesome. Because usually, like, we'll have a couple of ideas, but it's amazing when people like have their own. Or
So when people get interactive with it, then it's not just waiting to be told, go and do that, or stand over there and look like this.
Yeah.
When someone's actually just
that's
up
fine.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
A
it
mixture's
helps.
good.
So when someone's got their own creativity to throw into it makes.
Yeah.
Having seen these photos, like some of them, I like the colour ones because there was just so much colour going on. You've got the nice contrast in the blue and the orange between the suit and the shirt, and I just feel like, and there was some really good backgrounds.
Yeah.
I feel like whilst with black and whites, I used to hate black and white. I just think it's just like I'm a colour person. Like I really like the colours in photos. Yeah, so the colours I think like really stood out for me in these shots, and I'm just sorry I wasn't there to be part of this because it looked like a great shoot.
Oh no, you
Thanks.
like like you were there in spirit. I don't know why. Like in a lot of them, like I just default to fear. Like,
I don't know that is
Suits
that
getting out of it.
slightly angry. I think
oh yeah, like,
it's a hostage situation.
yeah.
Amanda was there taking behind the scenes photos, and most of them are just me with my arse out because I was getting low for a lot of the boot shots, and it's just like my boxers and then like a pale back.
Just that squat.
I do tend to stand, and you get photos of me taking photos of Mickey Motion. My back's like that, like looking.
A hunchback in Notre Dame.
Yeah, I need to be more
Aesthetic in your photo taking.
That's why I'm behind the camera. I think this is one of the first ones we got just up against the wall.
Yeah.
There are a lot, so I'll just start
No,
running through. So these are our warm-up shots.
Yeah.
where we're just like, right, let's get a couple of bankers where you get the plain background. Background wasn't the nicest, a wee bit messy.
Anger and surprise there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great expressions though. And you warned me about, I think you said you had a wee spot or something there. Or something.
Oh yeah, so I was self-conscious about it because it was like the day before it popped up, and I was like, God damn it!
Don't
I
worry.
told you.
Did you take care of it?
Took care of them.
Oh, man.
What's the rule for this? Like, if it's going to be there for less than 3 days, it's
3
you
weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
That's quite a
so
big time
it's-
period.
When I did the wedding with Danny Bray, he's like, I've been looking at portraits and editing portraits, and it's like there's like a rough 3-week rule.
Oh really?
So if there's something on their face or whatever that you think, that's only gonna be there a couple of weeks, take it off.
Wow.
But
So you
it's
could have
like-
done that with the mustache then.
You made the same joke on the podcast a few episodes ago.
Did I? Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I'll need to go back and find that. Oh fuck! I think I do remember it.
It was about me, my visual.
Fuck.
This is a more chaotic angle getting out the boot.
Yeah, I love it.
The plan is we've got you doing the suit shopping jump, we've got
Yeah.
you running through the barras, we've got you celebrating, we've got you getting out the boot. So I'm gonna try and make a wee video,
Yeah,
like a bedtime story kind of deal.
yeah. Like just by accident, a narrative just kind of formed
Yeah.
over the day.
Running away from a guy with like a wasp bite in his
Yeah.
neck. It's like trying to sting you. And yeah, this is the last of the boot ones, don't
Yeah.
worry. I have 38 boot photos, none of which you can use for anything. That's the colour version of the... This one I think is better in black and white. Although I do love that wall for
I
other
don't know.
photos.
I quite like it.
Got my jazz album cover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where's the ukulele?
What did it call?
It's gone.
The jazz
I love the
ukulele.
matching between the shoes, the socks, the shirt.
I've never had an excuse to wear those shoes before. Like I
No?
got given them for Christmas like years back, and I was like, oh God, finally, yeah.
I feel bad now because there was a photo just of the shoes and I got rid of it.
Ah, dude, you're
I
all
was
good.
culling.
Well, we can throw it into the actual mix.
So these are more kind of standard ones where you're not like looking away.
Yeah.
I just quite like the backdrop with the seat.
It almost looks like your
Really smiley
suit's
ones.
melting down the concrete block you're sitting on. The colour's so similar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had to be accidental.
You really need to see a doctor fast what comes out. Yeah.
So for the remainder of the photos, he's in a pair of trackies that he bought from
Yeah.
his stand.
I've got a plastic bag.
It changed in the boot. That's why he's climbing out.
And there's the narrative.
I think this is the equivalent of the black and white one, the
Yeah.
portrait here, and then we go into more color only ones.
There's another question that's coming to my mind. And what product do you use in your hair?
It's I think it's called Ruzel. Or like, but
Ruzel.
like, I think that's. I got given it like, and it's like a tub has lasted me.
Scooby-Doo themed
like,
gel.
yeah, like it's like my barber gave it to me, like, and it's lasted like 9 months or something like,
Okay.
and it's not even a huge tub. I'm just like, this is a miracle. But yeah.
Ruzel.
By getting a
My
tub
guy
of
used to
that?
have tubs called Dupe, and it was when I had like a bit of hairline. It was the amazing. It's so amazing, and then they stopped getting it into that particular like place.
Dupe.
Dupe,
Dupe.
yeah, so good. You get it on Amazon, but it's like 30 quid now.
Oh god.
Damn.
30 quid now. That face. Got some smiley ones.
That's £15 off. Give
Yeah,
me two.
the two of them paired together, we got our next reaction meme.
You should set up like a premise for something you've just heard, and I'll click next and see your expression. Have you got an emotion, or
God.
someone's just said to you
Wait. Wait.
for the next one? You don't know what the face is going to be.
Oh, okay. Wait. So what's the premise?
So you tell me, like, say if I go back, so I'll be like, okay, the next one. An
You've just been-
old lady just walked by me, stood in my foot, and then farted in my leg.
Wait a minute. The lady. That's no lady. That's a robot.
Oh my god, that works! I love this photo. See the flick of the jacket?
I love
Yeah.
it. It was windy that day. Like, and, yeah, we were trying to catch the wind.
Yeah.
This is very theatrical.
Yeah, I like this one. And then, yeah, these couple with these walls,
Yeah.
that wall's so cool for
Really like
photos. I
that
think.
wall.
But I just thought it was a good backdrop for you. I'm not like complimenting the wall, not you.
Yeah.
Great as well.
Didn't even notice the bats. I love that. Yeah.
Hmm.
You have like a mixture of kind of thoughtful faces, but then also your kind of silly ones, and then also smiles. So it's perfect. Like
Yeah.
such a variation.
It's like quite a contented look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the old lady just fell over, and then a car hit her.
Just wink right in the camera, like iris closed.
That's one for your gran.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome look.
Yeah.
This one I wasn't gonna keep because I thought that building in the background is such a cool building. I kind of wanted to have it included because it's part of the barras and stuff. I just thought, yeah, you look good. The composition and stuff wasn't my best, but I just kept it.
I like it.
Cool. And then again, we had the red backdrop.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need that colour there.
I think
Yeah.
we've got a behind the scenes photo of this one actually.
It's powerful, man. Like that red.
Yeah.
And then there's a few more kind of EastEnders, or what is it, Only Fools and Horses walking through the market.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them. I think I like the
Yeah.
the latter ones.
I like a situation of just being entirely overdressed for something.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's good.
And
This
then
was my favourite of your lot, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
these
I
ones I
just-
just added in for a laugh.
No, I really like the mirror.
Yeah.
I think it's you can almost get into it as like a duality to your personality, or you could like make it a bit more philosophical.
Yeah.
It's just I like just like the little details, like even like the clothes hanger. Like it's got nothing to do with it. It just I don't know. There's an aesthetic to it that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
We spent ages setting that up, didn't we? Closer up one,
Yeah.
following the narrative.
Front row.
And then I think there's one with me taking a photo of you in the mirror.
I like
Hey.
it. Yeah, I like that.
There we
too.
go.
Yeah, I really like that.
He's in it.
It was such a fun shoot though. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then we get our more kind of the ones of because you're Cinnamon, you're in a movie. Try to get that kind of
Yeah.
style edit. So this is you off to save the day somewhere after you button up your jacket.
Yeah. That's that red carpet kind of thing of everybody's
Yeah.
always fixing the button. It's like you have to have gotten the button at some point, you know. Like, yeah.
It's got something to do with your hands, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
They,
It's-
they say that for guys, you're meant to do an action like The Rock's always fixing his cuff.
Well,
Yes,
you're pulling
yeah.
your cuff links down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was that like the coolest shot in Skyfall is like when he's on the train and then he just
Yeah.
fixes his jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
I finally
scans
got a
the
movie.
Yeah.
that
That would be so good.
Skyfall more like fucking pants for you, Dick. Cut that as well. That's it.
Nice. Ah,
Well, yeah.
these are cracking.
Highly enjoyable shoot. Don't usually give as many,
Yeah.
but I just kind of yeah.
You've got to make up for the fact that we usually do 2 sets of photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like roughly like 13, 14 each or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Ah, these are amazing. Oh,
Cheers, man.
oh
Well,
no, thank you.
Yeah, we'll send you the link just basically when we wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we going to wrap up? If we just get that camera on, right?
yeah. Is that what's causing that to?
That go off again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair, it's absolutely bloody roasting by
That's why.
Don't take off your Meta Peak jacket.
But yeah, I might just get will I just video him and put it in?
Yeah.
Okay. So I fucked
no,
it
no,
with.
no. Horizontal, please.
Okay, I'll start again.
I hate vertical video anyway, but
Yes.
Okay.
thank someone else that agrees.
Ah, but it's the name of the game now. Like
It
it's,
kind of is, yeah.
yeah. I hate it. I fought it for so long. Yeah. I'd finally made peace with Square Video. I'm like, fine, we're doing Square Video. And everyone's like, no, we're doing portrait now. It's like,
Yeah.
It's annoying that people like Mark Zuckerberg are defining creativity.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're gonna go in a whole rant. Here.
Yeah.
They are not like they only get away with it because people
Do it.
actually do it, subscribe to it. If everyone just said no, fuck that, we're gonna do it our own way.
Yeah.
Then well, it's consumer driven. but they're just making best use of this little black
But
thing that we carry about with us.
They have so many users now that when people do what they want, they can, like a comedian, they'll boost that comedian to thousands and thousands of people. And then you're like, well, I can't miss out on that.
No, exactly. So it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It'll swing back the other way, and everyone will go ultra creative and.
On that
Well,
note,
yeah, sorry. Let's wrap this up. We'll be here for another 2 hours.
thank you so much, A, for the photo shoot and being a great subject. And
My
B
pleasure.
for
This was
coming down.
really fun. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a really
thank you
good
so much.
conversation.
Yeah.
Class.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Check, please. Oh my god, how do you think of that? But yeah, no, thank you so much, man. That was class.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Oh,